Dr. Randall, the Soul Doctor, author of Soul Doctoring, Heal Yourself, Heal the Planet, shares her 40 years of experience as a cross-cultural practitioner, medical futurist, and expert in 20 different modalities of healing, along with amazing interviews with some of the leading minds in medicine and big thinkers in all walks of life. The stories of our lives are the woven energies of our soul's paths. They feed and ignite the spiritual light that nourishes the universal soul, the one mind, the cosmic consciousness where we all come together. This podcast is going to be a deep dive into the personal stories of people who have made significant contributions to the planet. What formed them? What moved them to become these leaders and innovators that inspire us so? Hi, Francesca.
Hello, Gail. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. It's always just such a pleasure to talk to you, to interact with you. You touch my heart. So
It's the feeling is very mutual.
And the reason I'm having you on this show is because as you may know, the people that I choose to come on this show are people that are game changers, people that are either in the process of making a difference in the world or already have. And I think you maybe fit both of those categories. So.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for thinking that of me.
Yes. Well, I think the audience is going to find out for themselves. Who is this that called you the new enfant terrible of fashion, the creator to the end of her fingertips?
It's basically that's how I've always been. Mm-hmm. And it's something that many people were saying about a fashion designer, Jean-Paul Gaultier, who truly inspired me as a teenager to become the designer that I wanted to become. Mm-hmm. And I had the pleasure to meet him when I was 18, and meeting him was life-changing.
I'm sure. Francesca was she's Sicilian born, and she says her roots play a great part in the way that she creates her collection. Her taste in creating a concept has been since the tender age of 4, and where she was making clothes for her sister's doll way back then, and they even then they had an edge. They had her special touch. And the other thing that I love is, yes, she has the Midas touch, but she expresses her, which I believe, and I think she'll agree with me, this is clearly her sole purpose, to design, but not just clothes, as it turns out, but to the tips of her fingertips. The soul in the tips of her fingertips. I love that phrase.
Thank you.
She does it all with deep and evident pleasure. Her designs and creations have won so many different awards and prizes. I can't even say them here. If they're important as we go along, you can say them, or if you want to say them, you can say them. But
there were small awards, but the way that I see it as an artist, it's not how big, and I mean, of course, we all aim for the biggest awards if we go for awards, but I think there is each award is important because whoever's organizing the awards and giving it to you, they believe that you are an artist that they value. So however known by the general population an award is, that to me is very much irrelevant, because it's just as an artist you need that kind of boost of recognition by your own peers or by people who may not be your peers, but they find you inspiring. So that to me, it's more for the ego, not so much for the bank account.
Right. Well, what strikes me is when I look at this list, it's very pervasive throughout the world. I see Istanbul, I see Japan, I see France, I see China, I see, so this is a world international. She has international recognition, I would say. And that's something, in any area, if you can have international recognition.
Well, we are all, we are all people that live in the same place, and it's the world. And to me, the world is round and has no end.
For sure, and even extends beyond here. It extends beyond this blue marble in space that we live in.
Yes.
And the other thing I like here is she is simply conceptual, a trend setter and avant-garde, to the end. It's not a surprise that being such a talented designer that she fell into consulting and directing and styling and other things, as well as the clothes. She began to organize and run magazines. Is that right?
Yes, but it all comes hand in hand. It's I think it's part of the process, and I give a lot of business mentoring to either young artists or young entrepreneurs, young designers, and I tell them the more you have to grab every opportunity, but create them at the same time. Mm-hmm. Don't just expect them to fall on your lap. But if there is, this is why I say, I'm a creator to the end of my fingertips, because whatever it is, I need to create. So there was a time where I felt like, the opportunity, somebody asked me to start a modeling agency, and I ended up looking after models and fashion artists, fashion creatives, hair, makeup, styling. And for me, that's part of a creative process. It's in your head, you visualize it, and then you work towards creating it and make it come to life.
Yeah, you have to be able to do all the parts, I guess, to get it the way you want it.
Yes, so they're all very much interlinked. Even though I'm a fashion designer, this is my core. That's how we all started. But it's opened up so many other doors. And I also opened up many other doors. And that's why my career is very diverse.
Yes, you worked with cinematographers and...
Yes.
And
a Hollywood one, that was a great experience.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It was just a small project here in London, but somehow, I was told, he's the director. We would like you to do the wardrobe design for the actors. And it was more an opportunity to be able to work with someone like him who did Planet of the Apes. But it was a very small project in London. And I'm not sure it was his best.
But that's a pretty big deal, though.
It was pretty amazing to see, somebody of his status, work on set. It was great.
And now you're taking on, you have created a whole new magazine with...
Yes.
I mean, the theme behind it is what, of course, gets to me. I love. It's called Zion Zane, which, after all, is the name of your twins.
Yes, their middle names.
It's their middle names, and you could probably say this better than me, but Zion will be curating all rising stars. Zion is the future and the promised land, and people with that name tend to rise up and lift or move to a higher position or level. Zain will be creating all shakers, movers, and legends. Zain means gift from God, the creator, the universe. People that with that name tend to initiate events and be leaders rather than followers with powerful personalities. I just love that. I mean, it's so what we need right now is to lead people into these kind of thoughts and thinking. And this magazine will be showcasing only the highest quality of fashion, art, design, beauty, architecture, photography, creativity, and creative freedom by artists at the top of their industry. It'll be bi-monthly, and it will follow an editorial theme each time. And is it true it has 2 covers that showcase the rising star and the legend? Is that right?
It will have a few, because we are launching. We are a little delayed, but we are launching very soon. And so for the launch issue, I've done many different covers because it's more of a celebration. And then from issue 2, there will be 2 covers.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that really struck me when I was reading through your materials is about you particularly, that just let me read this paragraph. There are people that you would see every day once you've met them. You know when in a split of a second you are sure that you are dealing with someone that is nice, someone that is worth it, someone you can truly appreciate and admire their talent and their work. You can spend hours watching them in the middle of their creating stages. She's definitely has that Midas touch. When I met Francesca, I felt exactly that, maybe more. I felt she was truly an honorable person. She was definitely on the same beam as I was in terms of the future of our planet and doing things to bring it forward to help the people rise up, as she says. And I hold her in my heart that way. So welcome, Francesca.
Thank you.
It's so delightful to have you. So your whole journey started quite young, right? I mean, you were sewing at the age of 4, but I think you told me you also began to meditate at about that age.
At the age of 4, that's when I decided I wanted to be a designer. I started to design at the age of 9, where I would wait for my mom to go grocery shopping to work on her sewing machine, and every time she would find out because I would be breaking it, until I was 14 with a teacher who was giving lessons on sewing and pattern cutting to all the moms and old ladies as an evening class. We all lied about my age so I could finally join her course, and I would stop breaking my mom's sewing machine. But at the age of 5, that's when I started to meditate. Yes, I had a meditation teacher for 12 years.
That's astounding. I mean, to start that young. That sort of ties in, if I may ask, weren't you born with a disability?
Yes, it's herb and Klumpke palsies.
Mm-hmm. And what is that? What does that do to you?
Well, basically, my torso, top, on the left, from the neck, the arm, the nerves are very damaged, so I have hardly any movement. When I say hardly, maybe 5 to 10%.
Mm-hmm. So you had to overcome this disability, and meditation helped you. Is that...
Well, yes, because basically I was going through physio, And what they would do is to give me electroshock treatments for the muscles and nerves. And as a reaction, I was a very hyper child, really hyper. I hated the world. I hated society. I hated everyone. I only loved cartoons, you know. So what the doctors told my mom, she should do acupuncture and, go to this person. And what the guy did, not only he was doing acupuncture, but he was doing Reiki to me and also teaching me how to meditate.
So that helped change you out of... Did you hate the world because of the pain and the suffering you were going through, or?
Because I didn't have a life like a child. All my friends were going to, they were doing things. Me, everything that I had to do revolved around my disability.
Mm-hmm. When did that change?
How I saw my disability?
When did that... clearly, you're not that person now. So.
Oh, God. I have to admit, as a kid, what meditation did to me, it just gave me that time where I was just relaxing and not being around, with doctors always telling me to do certain movements and physio. Even though this was a routine, but it gave me that moment where I knew I would relax.
Mm-hmm. So did that change you?
I think I didn't realize that it changed me until I was in my early 20s.
Or was it your own fortitude that changed you? You were making clothes.
Well, literally at the age of 17, I told my meditation, teacher to go and get a life, and I had enough. I said, I don't want to come, because I think it had been forced on me. I just rejected it. And it's only in my early 20s where I realized that, it was part of my life and I couldn't change it. And that it wasn't so bad. Even though when I was 19 telling people that I was meditating, they would look at me and laugh and say, oh, weirdo.
We've always been weirdos, right?
I know. It's all like, ooh, everybody's...
Now everybody else is doing it, right?
I know.
So we have to find other weirdo things to do.
I know, but I'm very grateful to my meditation teacher because looking back, he is an absolute amazing man. He really, I know that he was doing his job, but he had, I don't know, it wasn't so bad to see him for 12 years, twice a week, and, having him, and doing my daily meditations at the same time.
So knowing, that you were going to be a designer from a very young age, when did you actually reach out and begin to, connect to?
At the age of 17.
Mm-hmm.
I left my parents' home and came to London.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
I joined the fashion college and I thought, this is the most boring thing to ever do in life. I met loads of great people, but do I remember any lessons? Not so much. It's just that for me, it felt like I already knew it. So through my fashion school, I already won a design award.
So the connections are important, and right, and people recognizing you.
Connections are extremely important in every career. It's not just in fashion. That's
Of
what,
course.
It's a harsher industry because there is a lot of money involved, a lot of competition. Everybody now is styling. Everybody is a fashion editor, especially here in London. It's a bit oversaturated in regards of an industry. So the connections to get to a certain level where, you gain financial freedom from it, it's a long road. And you can never take anything for granted. Everything works in seasons in the fashion industry, including people.
Right. But, fulfilling your soul purpose makes you happy.
To be honest, I wake up in the morning and I'm just doing what I like. So it doesn't even feel like, even though, I do set targets and deadlines and everything, but it doesn't feel like work as such.
That's because it's your soul path.
Yes. So, I really, but I think what meditation did in regards of my industry is that I was always able to disconnect from all the, glitzy and glamour and la 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 that comes with it. But
and stress, I would imagine.
Yes, but also because, I've always had, even though I work in the fashion industry, but I've always had a life aside from the fashion industry. And a lot of people, tend to forget that. But that's in every career anyway. There are some people who are so into it that they forget to actually have a life aside from their career. So for me, I had my kids I was 26, which is pretty young nowadays. Back then, when I had my kids, I was already like a late bloomer. But so I always had my kids. So I think that too really, and the fact of already it just gave me a good balance.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you mentioned it, balance, and so meditation gave you balance. Your children gave you balance. Anything else? Your family, maybe?
I don't bring work at home. Even though I work from home, but I don't discuss anything to do with my work at home. So it kind of, I even though I reply to emails in the evening, but it's in regards of speaking, it's, I know how to, I switch off completely. And I think maybe that's what meditation gave me as a skill, to be able to, when it's family time, it's family time. It's not work as it's hours. When it's family time, it's work is off.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, even my grandchildren, very recently, and they're 15 and 13 now, had no idea that, I have, the stuff I've done, right? They just think of me as Nana. And then they started getting into social, and they said, "Oh, Nana, you're like," I said, "Yeah." They said, "Oh, that's amazing." They didn't even know, because I don't talk about it. I just spend my time with them and do family stuff.
Right? I don't know. I feel it's a more fulfilling life.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
Yes, even though, when there's certain moments that, when my sons were younger, and they would come with me to certain events, so they know the industry, but they they wouldn't care what I would do, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for them, like, your grandkids, your nana, for them, I am their mom.
Right. So what's your biggest wish?
The biggest wish
Mm-hmm.
for life or for my career?
Yeah, both.
Well, for my career, I've always wanted to win the ultimate, an Oscar for Best Christian Designer. You never know, I still have time.
Of course you do.
I'm still working towards it. It's maybe on the back burner, but it's something that I've always wanted to, at some point, work towards. And this is why also, doing these smaller awards for me, it's a preparation for my speech for the Oscars.
All right.
And I'm really famous that wherever I go, if there is a fake Oscar statue, anywhere I go, I would grab it and rehearse my speech. I've been doing it since I was a teenager.
Wow. Well, that's good. If you have intention for something, it happens. So.
Oh, well, I've always been able to, and I think that's what meditation gave me as a child. Even the doctors thought that it would help me, be less hyper, but what it did, it gave me the ability to visualize things in a much better way than any normal child. I had a very, very vivid, visions of fashion shows, of, very detailed already as a kid.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Mm.
So, what about for your family? What's your
My wish for my family, for my sons to, for everybody to be healthy. But that's always been not because of the pandemic. I've always wished health to everyone, but for my sons to, they both have started their first jobs, so I hope that they enjoy their environment and are able to grow. And first job, it's always a bit. I'm a rebel, so I can just imagine that how they may behave sometimes, being that young and boys.
and being your son.
Exactly.
So, when you think about the world as a whole, the planet as a whole, and how do you see what you do as helping the planet?
I think the world needs a lot of healing right now, and it's a bit like one of those episodes from the Fifth Dimension, but it's been lasting a bit too long. The governments, it's the situation is the way that it is, but the planet, the world, society needs great healing, and for a lot of aspects of it. How people are being treated in certain part of the world, and it's actually everywhere around the world. There are prisoners because of their political thoughts, religious thoughts, all over the world. It's not just third world countries that have these kind of issues. It's I wouldn't say it needs an awakening, but it needs a lot of healing to be able to move forward onto the next step. Because I feel that people are very angry right now.
Well, I don't know. I think I love looking at the work that you create. It sort of takes me out of my own sort of stress in a way, So, and I look at some of these photographs and creations that you make. It's very uplifting to me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just a root from you or if that's something you're trying to do, to create.
You know, when you design, you're selling a dream. So you want people to, everybody will relate to a collection in a very different way, or to a painting in a very different way. But you want to, you know, what fashion does is make people feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I want to sell clothing that make women feel great about themselves. And it's always, you know, it's always very nice to hear when, you know, how certain people relate to each collection and to the brand.
Mm-hmm. I especially see your new magazine, you know, leading and uplifting people going into the future.
Yes.
It's much needed right now.
I feel that there are actually a lot of magazines who are all, you know, with that kind of ethos, message, and brand mission. A lot of things have changed because of COVID in many industries. Especially here in London, there's been a change within the publishing industry for about 10 years, where independent magazines started to, you know, rise. And some of them, they've been going on for 10 years. I saw their issue 1, so it's nice to see their progress. Mm-hmm. And they all, you know, feature artists that are also very much independent, but they do have a voice. I think maybe for America, it's more of, I wouldn't say it's something newer for America, but here in England, that kind of concept of independent magazine has been running for a lot of years.
Nice. Nice. So, what do you have any words of wisdom for my listeners?
Words of wisdom to never stop believing in yourself, and never stop, you know, realizing and that we are all magic. You know, if you look, this is the way I see life. Death is the normal course of life. You know, none of us can walk away from it. You can come back from a death experience, but it's a journey in itself. But to just, it's magic. Life is magic. And if you don't stop believing that you are magic, that's how you can, you know, really enjoy every little detail that comes to you. The good and the bad, because we all have to go through our struggles. But that's one thing that meditation gave me as a kid and as a teenager. You know, when you go through traumas, through struggles, is to be able to look at the situation from a very different perspective.
I love that. I love that. Don't stop believing, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very much of an optimist, as you know, and it's a matter of getting more people in that same space, you know, to get their intention in a positive way and pointing their sacred arrows in some positive way. I mean, research has shown that you can literally change the electromagnetics of the planet, you know, through like-minded thought. And so someone like you, a magazine like you're creating, is going to do that. And I think even your creations, your fashion creations, do that on some level. You know, people look at them and they get into that space and start thinking like-mindedness.
But that's the power of every artist, every creator. You know, we imagine something, we create it, and we're just showing people a dream. And how the audience, responds, that's just a matter of taste. That doesn't mean that it wasn't good. That's a matter of taste. You know, I've had critics who've said to me, because I used to do abstract art. I did a few exhibitions as a teenager, and one art critic came and told me that I was just the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. That I didn't like it at the time, but looking back, that was just his point of view. It wasn't. That didn't mean that I was a crap artist. It's just that he didn't understand it.
Yeah, it's important not to take those things personally and to just keep going with your thought and your vision. Like you said, never give up, never stop, you know, expressing your soul path, because that is where it's at.
Yeah. There'd be less people on opioids, I think, if
and a lot of other stuff, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have to find that escape through there. They wouldn't want to escape. They would want to get deeper into that feeling of being connected. Connectedness is really what it's all about. And I learned that, of all things, through medicine, through integrative medicine, that led me to connectedness of all things, and led me to lead people to that, so they too can experience that connectedness and look at it in a bigger way. You know, because you've read my things.
Yes. And you're also part of issue 1 of the magazine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, it's an honor. A true honor.
I can't wait. So you have to tell me when that's coming.
Oh, you can post the cover.
Okay.
Yes, the cover you can post as a sneak preview. The cover you can post.
Okay. So we'll use it for this podcast.
Perfect. I love your cover.
Anything else you want to share with my listeners? Do you have some way that people can contact you?
My Instagram. You know, out of the magazine, Zion Zane.
What's your Instagram? Can you tell us?
It's Francesca Marotta Official. It's a bit long. Or the magazine, Zion Zane. Zion.Zane.
Is the Zion Zane is on the Instagram also? Or
yes.
Oh, I need to follow that.
It's a must.
Okay, I will. I'm sorry, I didn't know. All right. So Zion Zane, at Zion Zane, and at Francesca Marotta.
Official.
On Instagram. Official.
Yes. Oh, but Zion, there is at Zion.Zane.
Yes. Got it. Okay, dear. All right. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Okay. God bless. Okay.
Oh,
bye-bye, dear.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for having me. That was such a great talk, as always.
As always. I love you.
I love you so much, Gail. You're a wonderful lady.
Okay. We'll talk again soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you loads.
I'm Dr. Gail Randall, creator and host of Soul Stories. I just want to thank you for listening to my podcast. I recently got a notification from the International Podcast People And I was astounded that so many countries are listening to my podcast in the category of alternative health. So thank you, and please continue to listen. I especially want to thank Egypt, Croatia, Japan, and Switzerland, also France and Ireland, because my numbers were quite high there. So keep up the good work and check out my Instagram at Dr. Gail Randall, and particularly check out my Instagram TV, where you can hear me talking about alternative medicine subjects and also see me. It's a very good show, and I think you'll like the subjects. It's on 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Friday, but it's recorded there, so you can find it there anytime you look. Okay, thanks again. I love you guys. This is Dr. Gail Randall from Soul Stories, and author of Soul Doctoring, Heal Yourself, Heal the Planet. I want to thank Saltology, our sponsor, at bathsalt.com, which fits perfectly into my medicine bag as it, like me, calls upon the ancient wisdom and modern technology to heal, especially with the stresses and ills of our modern times. The Bokek brand uses organic salts combined with organic essential oils sourced from ancient Egypt to provide a perfect remedy for your bathing ritual and healing from modern stresses. The Relief RX brand is a unique one-of-a-kind healing salt that uses organic CBD, treated with a unique emulsification process to create nanoparticles which easily enter the skin to most effectively heal and relieve aching muscles and joints. Whether from chronic inflammation or just a rough workout, this is the perfect healing bath, especially when you add the organic essential oils of neroli, lavender, eucalyptus, or grapefruit. Your body, mind, and soul will be lifted and soothed like never before. Go now to bathsalt.com. I also want to give special thanks to Larry Antonino and Agora Borealis Recording Studio for music and score, and also to closetotheearth.com for IT and computer assistance.